There is a voice in your head right now. As you listen to these words, that voice is commenting, judging, analyzing, perhaps even resisting what it hears. This voice has convinced you that it is you, that the endless stream of thoughts flowing through your mind represents your true identity. But what if I told you that this fundamental assumption, accepted by billions of human beings as an unquestioned truth, is the root of all psychological suffering? For most of your life, you have been living under a case of mistaken identity. You believe you are your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, your personality. When someone asks who you are, you might describe your profession, your relationships, your beliefs, your history. But none of these mental constructs represent the essence of what you truly are. They are simply content passing through the field of your awareness, like clouds drifting across an infinite sky. This misunderstanding runs so deep that you may have never questioned it. When a thought arises that says, "I am anxious," you immediately identify with that anxiety. When the voice in your head declares, "I am not good enough," you accept this as truth about your fundamental nature. When memories of past hurt surface, you become those memories. But notice something profound. There is something in you that is aware of the anxiety, that hears the self-critical voice, that observes the memories. What is that something? Take a moment now to breathe consciously. Allow 4 slow, deep breaths to anchor you in this present moment. As you breathe, notice that you can observe your breathing. You can watch the rise and fall of your chest, feel the air moving through your nostrils, sense the expansion and contraction in your belly. Who or what is doing this observing? The breath cannot observe itself. Your lungs cannot watch themselves expand. There is an awareness present, and that stands apart from what it perceives. This awareness has been with you since the moment you were born, yet it remains completely overlooked by a mind that has become hypnotized by its own activity. Every thought you have ever had has appeared in this awareness and dissolved back into it. Every emotion, every sensation, every experience of your entire life has been witnessed by this unchanging presence. Yet somehow you have learned to ignore the observer and identify completely with what is being observed. The suffering that human beings experience, depression, anxiety, fear, anger, loneliness, emerges from this fundamental confusion. When you believe you are your thoughts, you become trapped in a mental prison of your own making. You live at the mercy of whatever random thoughts happen to arise in your mind. If the thoughts are pleasant, you feel good. If they are disturbing, you suffer. Your peace of mind becomes completely dependent on the content of your thinking, which is as unreliable as the weather. But thoughts themselves are not solid, permanent realities. Modern quantum physics reveals that what we call thoughts are actually electromagnetic patterns, subtle vibrations occurring in the neural networks of your brain. Every thought generates a measurable electrical charge that can be detected by sensitive instruments. When you think, approximately 86 billion neurons fire in precise sequences, creating complex electromagnetic fields that pulse through your nervous system. These neural firings are not happening to some solid, substantial entity called you. They are patterns of energy arising within the field of consciousness itself. Just as ocean waves are not separate from the ocean, thoughts are not separate from the awareness in which they appear. They are temporary modifications of consciousness, like ripples on the surface of a vast, still lake. At the quantum level, the very atoms that make up your brain are mostly empty space, filled with probabilities rather than solid matter. The electrons spinning around atomic nuclei exist in a realm of pure potential until the moment they are observed. In the same way, thoughts exist as probability waves in the quantum field of consciousness until awareness collapses them into the experience of thinking. This is not merely philosophical speculation. Research in neuroscience has shown that thoughts literally change the structure of your brain through a process called neuroplasticity. Every time you think a thought, you strengthen certain neural pathways while allowing others to weaken. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on the patterns of your mental activity. You are not the passive victim of your thoughts. You are the conscious architect of your own neural landscape. When you begin to understand thoughts as energy patterns rather than solid realities, something extraordinary becomes possible. You start to recognize that you can observe these patterns without being consumed by them. You can watch anxiety arise in your mind like watching clouds form in the sky. You can notice anger appear and dissolve like waves form in and dissolving in the ocean. The key is learning to identify with the observer rather than with what is being observed. Right now, notice what thoughts are present in your mind. Don't try to change them or judge them. Simply observe them with gentle curiosity. See if you can detect the space between thoughts, those moments of stillness that exist in the gaps of mental activity. In those gaps lies the doorway to your true nature. The ancient wisdom traditions have pointed to this truth for thousands of years. They speak of the witness consciousness, the silent observer that remains unchanged regardless of what appears within it. This witness is not affected by thoughts, emotions, or experiences. It is like the screen in a movie theater that remains pristine no matter what images are projected upon it. The screen is not disturbed by scenes of violence, not improved by scenes of beauty. It simply provides the space in which all experiences can unfold. This witnessing awareness is your true identity. It is not personal to you. It is the same awareness that looks out through every pair of human eyes. It is the unchanging backdrop against which the entire drama of human life unfolds. When you learn to rest in this awareness, you discover a peace that surpasses understanding, a joy that needs no reason, a love that excludes nothing. The journey from identification with thoughts to recognition of awareness is perhaps the most important shift you can make in this lifetime. It is the difference between living as a prisoner of your own mind and living as the free, limitless consciousness that you have always been. This shift does not require years of study or complex practices. It requires only a willingness to look beyond the obvious and recognize what has been present all along. As you begin to recognize yourself as the witness rather than the witnessed, something remarkable happens at the most fundamental level of your biology. Your brain, which science once believed was fixed and unchangeable after childhood, reveals itself to be extraordinarily plastic, capable of rewiring itself throughout your entire lifetime. This neuroplasticity represents one of the most profound discoveries in modern medicine, the understanding that consciousness can literally reshape matter. Every time you choose to observe a thought rather than identify with it, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain. When you witness anxiety without becoming anxious, you strengthen the circuits associated with calm awareness while weakening the networks that generate stress responses. Your brain begins to default to presence rather than reactivity. This is not a metaphorical transformation. It is a physical restructuring of the most complex organ in your body. Research has shown that experienced meditators have measurably different brain structures than those who have never practiced awareness. The areas associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness become thicker and more developed. The regions linked to fear, stress, and the sense of a separate self-actuar, shrink. Your brain literally sculpts itself according to where you place your attention most frequently. But the transformation goes even deeper than neural networks. At the level of your genes, consciousness is constantly influencing which genetic programs are activated and which remain dormant. This field of study, called epigenetics, reveals that your thoughts and emotions create chemical signals that can turn genes on or off without changing the DNA sequence itself. You are not the victim of your genetic inheritance. You are the conscious director of your genetic expression. When you live in chronic stress and identification with negative thought patterns, you activate genes associated with inflammation, cellular aging, and disease. Your body literally ages faster when your mind is trapped in cycles of worry, anger, and fear. But when you cultivate states of peace, gratitude, and loving awareness, you activate genes associated with cellular repair, immune function, and longevity. Your consciousness becomes the most powerful medicine in your pharmacy. Take 6 slow conscious breaths now, allowing each exhale to release any tension you might be holding in your body. As you breathe, recognize that you are not just calming your mind, you are sending healing signals to every cell in your body. Your breath is a bridge between consciousness and matter, between the observer and the observed. With each conscious breath, you are literally rewriting your biological destiny. The implications of this understanding are staggering. Every moment offers you the opportunity to choose which version of yourself you want to create. When you catch yourself lost in anxious thinking and gently return to present moment awareness, you are not just finding peace, you are rewiring your brain for resilience. When you choose gratitude over complaint, you are activating genetic programs that support health and vitality. When you respond to stress with conscious breathing rather than reactive thinking, you are literally evolving your nervous system. This evolution happens not in isolation, but within a vast field of intelligence that quantum physics has revealed to underlie all of reality. Beyond the world of separate objects and individual minds lies what scientists call the quantum field, a realm of pure potential from which all things emerge and to which all things return. This field is not empty space, but rather a plenum of infinite possibilities, pregnant with every potential outcome that could ever manifest. Your thoughts do not arise from your brain alone. They emerge from this field of pure consciousness like waves arising from an ocean. The field contains every thought that could ever be thought, every solution that could ever be discovered, every creative inspiration that could ever emerge. When you quiet the noise of compulsive thinking and rest in aware presence, you naturally attune yourself to this source of infinite intelligence. This is why the greatest insights often come not through intense mental effort, but through relaxed awareness. When you stop forcing your mind to solve problems and instead create space for deeper intelligence to emerge, solutions appear as if from nowhere. Artists, scientists, and innovators throughout history have described this phenomenon, the sense that their greatest creations came through them rather than from them. In this field of infinite potential, the observer effect of quantum physics becomes profoundly relevant to your daily life. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of superposition, all possible states simultaneously, until the moment they are observed. The act of observation collapses the wave of probability into a specific reality. In the same way, your conscious attention collapses infinite potential into the specific experiences that make up your life. When you approach each moment with aware presence rather than preconceived expectations, you open yourself to possibilities that your thinking mind could never imagine. When you release attachment to specific outcomes and trust the intelligence of the field, you align yourself with a creativity that transcends personal limitation. Your life becomes a collaborative dance between your individual consciousness and the cosmic intelligence that animates all things, Rest for a moment in the recognition that you are not separate from this field. You are not an isolated individual struggling to survive in a hostile universe. You are a unique expression of infinite consciousness, temporarily focused into the experience of being human. The same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of galaxies beats your heart. The same creative force that births stars gives rise to your thoughts. You are both the wave and the ocean, both the observer and the field of infinite potential. Your emotions, which may seem so personal and overwhelming, are actually the body's response to this constant dialogue between mind and field. When you believe thoughts that separate you from your true nature, thoughts of inadequacy, fear, or isolation, your body responds with stress hormones, muscle tension, and biochemical chaos. Your emotions are not random experiences, but intelligent signals, informing you whether your thinking is aligned with truth or trapped in illusion. Every emotion you experience creates a cascade of biochemical changes throughout your body. Fear triggers the release of cortisol and adrenaline, preparing your body for fight or flight. Anger floods your system with inflammatory chemicals. Chronic sadness depresses your immune function and slows cellular repair. Your body is constantly adapting to the chemical environment created by your emotional states, which are themselves responses to your thoughts. But here lies the profound opportunity. When you understand that emotions are the body's interpretation of mental activity, you realize that you can change your emotional experience by changing your relationship to thought. You don't need to suppress emotions or pretend they don't exist. You simply need to recognize that they are temporary visitors in the space of your awareness, not permanent residents defining who you are. Notice right now what emotions might be present in your body. Perhaps there is tension in your shoulders, heaviness in your chest, or restlessness in your stomach. Instead of labeling these sensations as problems to be solved, can you simply acknowledge them with the same gentle curiosity you would offer to a friend? Can you breathe into these areas and offer them space rather than resistance? When you approach emotions with presence rather than reactivity, something beautiful happens. The stuck energy begins to move. The tight contraction starts to soften. The overwhelming feeling reveals itself to be nothing more than sensation arising and dissolving in awareness. You discover that you can feel your emotions fully without being overwhelmed by them, just as you can observe your thoughts without being consumed by them. This shift from emotional reactivity to emotional intelligence is one of the most practical gifts of awakening consciousness. Instead of being at the mercy of your moods, you become curious about them. Instead of judging your feelings as good or bad, you recognize them as information. Instead of trying to maintain only pleasant emotions, you develop the capacity to remain present with whatever arises, knowing that all emotional states are temporary movements in the ocean of your being. This understanding opens the doorway to a practice that can transform your entire experience of being human, the practice of conscious observation. This is not a technique you do for 20 minutes each morning and then forget about. It is a way of being that infuses every moment of your life with awareness. It begins with the simple recognition that you can choose to be present with whatever is arising rather than automatically reacting to it. Start with something as fundamental as your breath. Right now, without changing anything, simply notice that you are breathing. Feel the air entering your nostrils, the gentle expansion of your rib cage, the natural pause before exhalation. You are not controlling your breath. It is happening spontaneously, governed by an intelligence far greater than your thinking mind. Yet you can observe it, and in observing it, you connect with the present moment in a profound way. This same quality of observation can be brought to your thoughts. Instead of being carried away by the mental commentary, you can learn to watch thoughts the way you might watch birds flying across the sky. Some thoughts are beautiful, some are disturbing, some are mundane, but they all share one quality. They arise, exist for a moment, and then dissolve back into the silence from which they came. You are not responsible for the content of your thoughts any more than you are responsible for the weather, but you can choose your relationship to them. When a fearful thought appears, instead of automatically believing it and contracting around it, you can simply note fear is arising and return your attention to the breath. When anger emerges, you can acknowledge ang is present without needing to act it out or suppress it. When sadness appears, you can offer it the same gentle recognition you might give to a child who needs comfort. This is not about becoming emotionally numb. It is about developing the capacity to feel fully while remaining centered in awareness. The practice deepens when you begin to notice the stories your mind creates about your experiences. You stub your toe and immediately the mind says, "This always happens to me," or "I'm so clumsy." You receive criticism and the mental narrator declares, "They don't understand me," or "I must be terrible at this." These stories feel true in the moment they arise, but when you step back into the witness perspective, you can see them as optional interpretations rather than absolute facts. Begin to catch yourself in the act of story making. When you notice the mind constructing a narrative about why something is happening or what it means about you, gently return to the simple reality of what is actually occurring. The toe hurts, that is the fact. The criticism stings, that is the fact. Everything else is elaboration, and elaboration is where suffering lives. In the space between what happens and the stories we tell about what happens, freedom exists. This practice naturally extends to your relationship with others. When someone speaks to you, you can listen not just to their words, but to the awareness in which their words are arising. When conflict emerges, you can remain present with the emotions involved without losing yourself in the drama. When love is expressed, you can receive it fully without needing to analyze or categorize it. You begin to relate from presence to presence rather than from story to story. As conscious observation becomes more natural, you discover something extraordinary. Awareness itself has healing properties, not awareness of something specific, but pure awareness itself. Like sunlight that needs no object to shine upon, yet illuminates everything it touches, consciousness in its natural state is inherently healing. When you rest in pure awareness without agenda or effort, the body's own intelligence is allowed to function optimally. Modern research in psychoneuroimmunology has confirmed what contemplatives have known for millennia. Consciousness directly influences immune function, inflammation levels, and cellular repair mechanisms. When you are present, relaxed, and free from the stress of mental resistance, your body's natural healing processes are enhanced. Your heart rate variability improves, indicating better coherence between heart and brain. Your telomeres, the protective caps on your chromosomes, actually lengthen, slowing the aging process at the cellular level. This is not about using awareness as a tool to get something you want. It is about recognizing that awareness in its pure state is naturally therapeutic. When you stop interfering with life through mental commentary and emotional reactivity, life begins to heal itself. Your body knows how to repair damaged cells. Your psyche knows how to release trauma. Your relationships know how to find their natural harmony. The healing happens not because you make it happen, but because you allow it to happen. Think of a time when you were deeply absorbed in something beautiful, perhaps watching a sunset, listening to music, or holding a sleeping child. In those moments, your mind became quiet, your body relaxed, and something deeper than thought was present. You felt peaceful, connected, whole. This was not a special state that you created. It was your natural state, temporarily freed from the overlay of mental activity. Healing lives in these spaces of natural presence. When physical symptoms arise in your body, instead of immediately moving into worry or resistance, you can bring conscious presence to the affected area. Place your hand gently over your heart, your stomach, or wherever you feel discomfort. Breathe softly into that space. Don't try to fix anything or make the sensation go away. Simply offer the gift of awareness to whatever is arising. Often, symptoms that seem solid and permanent begin to shift when met with this quality of presence. The same principle applies to emotional pain. When grief, anxiety, or loneliness appears, you can learn to hold these experiences in the embrace of awareness rather than trying to escape from them. Emotional healing happens not through analysis or resolution, but through the willingness to feel fully while remaining present. Your awareness becomes a safe container in which all experiences can be met with compassion. As you develop this capacity to remain present with whatever arises, you begin to live more and more from the space between thoughts. This is not a blank, empty space, but rather a fullness pregnant with infinite potential. It is the place from which thoughts arise and to which they return. It is the source of creativity, intuition, and genuine wisdom. It is your natural home. In the space between thoughts, time reveals itself to be an illusion. Past and future exist only as mental constructs, memories and projections that have no reality in this moment. When you rest in the gap between thoughts, you touch eternity. You discover that you have never actually lived anywhere but in the present moment, and you never will. The present is not a moment in time. It is the timeless dimension in which all moments appear and disappear. From this spacious awareness, your actions arise spontaneously rather than compulsively. You respond to life from wisdom rather than reacting from conditioning. Your words carry weight because they emerge from silence rather than mental noise. Your presence becomes a gift to others because it is no longer clouded by the constant commentary of a restless mind. You begin to embody the peace you have discovered within yourself. This is not about becoming someone different than who you are. It is about recognizing who you have always been beneath the layers of identification with thought and emotion. You are not becoming enlightened. You are simply uncovering the enlightenment that is your true nature. Like the sun that is always shining even when clouds temporarily obscure it, your essential nature remains untouched by the weather patterns of your personal experience. Living from this recognition transforms every aspect of your existence. Your relationships become expressions of love rather than negotiations for security. Your work becomes service rather than struggle. Your challenges become opportunities for deeper understanding rather than problems to be solved. You discover that you can participate fully in the human experience while remaining rooted in the unchanging peace of your true nature. This is the awakened life, not a life free from difficulty, but a life lived with the understanding that you are larger than any difficulty you might face. Not a life without emotions, but a life in which emotions are welcomed as temporary visitors rather than permanent residents. Not a life without thoughts, but a life in which thinking serves awareness rather than enslaving it. You don't need to wait for some future moment to access this awakened state. It is available right now, in this very instant. The voice in your head that says, "I'm not ready," or "I don't understand," is just another thought arising in the space of your awareness. The feeling of being separate from what I am describing is just another experience being witnessed by your true self. You are already what you seek to become. You have always been what you seek to become. The invitation is simply to test these truths in the laboratory of your own direct experience. Notice what happens when you observe a thought instead of believing it. Discover what shifts when you breathe consciously instead of automatically. Explore what emerges when you meet this moment with presence rather than resistance. Your own awareness will become your greatest teacher, your most trusted guide, your most intimate friend. This is not a journey towards something you lack, but a coming home to what you have never actually left. You are not your thoughts. You are the timeless, boundless awareness in which all thoughts arise and dissolve. Rest in this knowing and let it transform your life from the inside out.